There's probably 5 to 7 guys that could take this one. Could be a who's who. Who brought their sprinting legs? Maybe we'll have a breakaway guy feeling sassy. Wanted to take a poop ski on the bunch sprint. Timer's ready?
Rider's ready. On my whistle.
Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is the 30 plus 3-4 at the Majestic crit number 3. So, just jumped into this race. Wanted to do 2 races. I'd probably be doing 2 races every weekend. So honestly, I'm probably in better shape to do the 4-5 instead of the 3-4. But it's time to just get back in shape. I'm gonna have to race my way into shape during the season. It's never the greatest situation, but it is what it is. But it also feels good to be back with my peers. A lot of these guys are the guys that I started racing with a few years back. You know, that most of them have moved up to Cat 3 now. A couple of us still in Cat 4. But honestly, I just had started off last 2 years not been so great for me. Started off last year with the crash, concussion, stuff like that. Took the beginning of my season. That's just race stuff. But then this year, I've been dealing with some illness and some health issues and a little injury. So anyway, saw the cardiologist on Wednesday. You know, it is what it is. Things aren't that great. I don't have a cure or anything and don't have really any viable treatments. But the good thing is I'm still safe to race, and racing is still having me healthier than if I stop racing. So I'll stay on that and hope my heart behaves correctly. Today, anyway, I try to start like normal, get up front, and just get a good start and see if the race kind of settles, but just don't want to be too far back in that washing machine. So honestly, overall, the pace of the race was really slow, but the first so many minutes is pretty hot. And being that I'm out of shape, I'm going to be probably putting in way too much work at the beginning of this race, and it's going to catch up to me. So here we're doing all right, just sitting in. I got the start I kind of wanted. I'm in the top 10 positions. I got Tony Dominguez right there in front of me. Tony and I started racing together too a few years ago. We've been in a lot of races together, probably more than 20 races together so far. I don't know. But yeah, Tony's been doing a great job the last couple years, and this year he's moved up to Cat 3 and started doing some of the 50 plus races. So we almost get hit by a car here. There's 2 cars on the road. Don't know how that happened, but luckily the timing, obviously God was with us, because normally we take that corner a lot tighter. And for whatever reason, I guess whoever's at the front kind of saw the car and, took it wide. But if that was a couple seconds later, that car would probably be right at the apex of the turn. So, in general, this crit is pretty isolated. In general, we don't have too many car issues over here. Both this series and the CBR series is pretty good with, blocking off all the traffic. Anyway, as you can see, the pace is pretty hot. I've been doing 300 to 400 watts for a while now, and I'm just really not in shape really to go hard right now. So I've missed so many rides just trying to get my fitness back. I missed so many rides with illness and injury that my fitness is at like an all-time low right now. I usually, TSS isn't everything, like your training stress score. That's not everything. I mean, honestly, it's not really even that important, but it does kind of give you an idea of what type of volume you're using. What type of volume you're putting in. And I usually start the season somewhere near a TSS or, not a TSS, but a fitness score of about 100, like in Training Peaks, and then it'll drop down into the 80s. I'm at a fitness score right now of about 40 something. And like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it shows that I have not been able to put in the work. I have very low, training volume over the last 42 days. That TSS basically, not the TSS, but your fitness score and all that, your fitness fatigue and form. That's kind of an algorithm that takes like your last 42 days of fitness. So anyway, that's Ace sitting in front of me right there. I think that's Johan to the right. Johan has a video out, did a great job. I think he gets into the breakaway coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I'm just trying to sit in, trying to find a good wheel and just kind of get some steady rhythm going where I know I don't have the fitness for all the surging. So I'm really just hoping that it settles in and I can just sit on a wheel for a few laps and then, you know, hopefully be in a good position to make something happen near the end. But it starts off pretty hot. We're not going that fast right now, but I think it's just whenever someone's trying to establish a breakaway, you know, people get a little impatient. We got to try to run it back. I haven't been racing with these guys for a while, so I don't know, you know, everyone's strong points and what the strategy is. If you heard at the beginning, the announcer was saying, you know, everybody in the race pretty much is a sprinter. That's just because we have a small field this weekend. Some people are out at Tucson, some are doing the Belgian waffle race, and then some people just elected not to come out. But smaller field, there's only, I think only 40 or so people entered this race, can't remember exactly. But when you have a small field like that and it's filled with sprinters, yeah, you're gonna have a couple people that are more breakaway types try to get a gap, and they have a better chance of just staying away for, you know, for the duration of the race. And this race was like, it's pretty good right now. It's a little decent pace. I mean, normally, like I said, last year in Cat 4, we averaged about 27 miles per hour per race. This year so far, things have been a little slower, but a little more spastic. And this race was basically no different. I think we only averaged like 26 miles per hour, or at least I did. I only averaged like 26 miles per hour for this race. And honestly, it was pretty slow. But, you know, I'm just out of shape, and these first 20 minutes kind of cracked me. I think that might be Chris in front of me right there from stage 2. I see Elijah over there on the right, number 345. Elijah ends up winning this race. You know, I'll just give you the spoiler because I'm not up there, so you don't see what happens. I am there at the end. I just recorded from the back though. I ended up getting dropped in a little bit, and you know, when they came around again, I just jumped back onto the end just to record the race and just finish it out. It's always easier to finish with the pack. One thing I will say about that though is just recent timing. There's NorCal Cyclist put a video out I think a week ago, and you know, NorCal Cyclist is very popular YouTuber, and he's also a very good racer, very good sprinter, has a lot of experience. But he said something that I don't really agree with, and I think is actually against the rules. He had gotten dropped in a P123 race, and he had said on his video that basically once you get dropped and if you're getting lapped, the only thing left to do is run interference for your team or to lead out your teammate, stuff like that. Definitely don't agree with that, and actually it's against the rules of cycling. So you can look it up. It's in USA Cycling's rules. In a crit race, if you get dropped, you can jump back into the peloton when it comes by and ride it out in the peloton. However, you cannot aid a teammate or aid someone that's on a different lap than you. You can't lead them out, and you can't use it to gain pace over your competitors. So basically, bottom line is you can jump back into the peloton and just cruise with the peloton. You cannot lead out your teammate and all that kind of stuff. Even though we see it happen all the time, technically it's against the rules. And I'm sure one day when someone launches a protest, someone's going to be disqualified for doing it, even though, like I said, NorCal Cyclist promoted it, and other people we've seen have been doing it. You know, even this year in a couple races we've seen where people have gotten lapped, and then they've led their teammate out on the last lap. So, but like I said, technically it's in the rule book. I forgot the exact number. I could quote it or whatever, but it's not that serious for me. But yeah, it's not something you should do. So I think right here in the race there is a breakaway that's established. I think it's a small group, maybe about 4 riders if I'm not mistaken, just going off from memory. So the pace picks up a little bit because we're kind of trying to bring it back. So if you can see up there, it's like really stretched out. There's like a group of 4 up the road, and now a chase group is kind of trying to form, or people are trying to bring it back a little bit. My heart rate's pretty high right now, even though I may be kind of comfortable here. But yeah, like I said, being with my fitness, I can't sustain it for a long time. I max out on steady efforts at about 188, and on a full sprint, I'll max out about 197 or so. But 182 with my fitness right now, I'm pretty close to the limit. That's Jack O right there, my teammate. He just moved up to Cat 4. Jack raced many years ago, but since he's been out of it so long, he started off this season back in Cat 5. But Jack has 3 wins already this year, and so he moved up to Cat 4, and hopefully him and I will race the rest of the season together, either in Cat 4 or Cat 3. Maybe move up to some Masters racing later in the year once I get my fitness back. Again, that's Elijah right there to my right. I think this is my first time actually being in a race with Elijah because, you know, like I said, I don't usually do the 3-4, and I'm only a 4, not a 3. I chose to stay in the 4 this year, and it's for a good it's a good thing that I did because I'm in horrible shape. But yeah, Elijah ends up winning with the late sprint at the end of the race, and kudos to him. He got to the line first, and took home the prize. So another shout out to Hitch as well. I think Hitch took home 3rd in that race. I mean in this race. So, kudos to Hitch with 3rd place. Yeah, so again, the breakaway is still up the road up there. We're not too organized back here chasing. And we don't really need to be. It's early in the race, but at the same time, like I said, I don't know the players in this race since I haven't raced with everyone this year. So I don't know if that's a dangerous group up there or not. And you see Elijah takes off there and tries to bridge up to that second chase group right there. And I just kind of sit in, and I don't mind putting in work or whatever, especially now I need to put in work just to get some fitness back. But since LaDon was carrying momentum up the outside, I just decided to follow his will and, to see what type of effort he's willing to put in. And I was really just keeping momentum and just trying to stay attached. But LaDon puts in a good dig here. He said his training's been going well, stuff like that. So I just thought I'd sit on his will and let him, pull me up to the front here or back up to the group. So one of the things is, if you see the way we took that corner, I always critique a lot of the women's races just because my wife's in those races, and it's not really that because my wife's in them. It's just because I like racing and I like critiquing and helping people if I can. But if you see, we took that corner pretty tight, and I always tell the women, don't take the corner so tight you're kind of cutting yourself off and things like that, and that is true. However, I don't know how to say it without sounding like we're better or something like that. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm saying is, when you have a better understanding of cornering and carrying speed, lean angles, what angle your pedals are at, if you can turn and not clip a pedal, that just opens up and gives you more options as far as what line you take. As you can see, we took that turn really narrow to the left side. However, we did not try to hug the turn coming out of the corner and staying to the left side. We let it run wide to the right after hugging the corner from the inside. And if you look here, we're not even going that fast. We are doing 26, which is a decent pace. And if you see how wide we are, but then watch how we cut the corner here and shorten the racetrack. And you'll see now that I'm on the front, you'll see me cut the corner here, shorten the track. And a lot of times in the Cat 5 and the women's races, they would have stayed wide and stayed on the right side of the road as if they were a car. So you got to kind of straight line the track. So now we got a little teamwork going here. We're just taking some, pulling through, basically taking little 5-second pulls or so. And it's kind of like a dynamic pace line where you don't count off any seconds or anything. You simply pull through when it's your turn and rotate. We had about 4 or 5 guys working it, but as the lap goes on and we're trying to run down the chase group, it turns out it's the same 4 people. So I know Tony was a little frustrated with it, and just trying to get more people to participate and bringing that group back. But it was basically like 4 of us up there rotating through, and then that kind of falls apart a little bit. There's my teammate Jack right there on a little attack, and basically Jack's just trying to bridge up to the other group. I think he makes it just about to them, and of course, kind of dies out. It's hard to bridge once you let the group get a little too far in front of you. Yeah, I mean that's a really strong effort to actually bridge it up. If you think about it, we're doing 25 right now, and the group's doing at least 25 as well up in front of us. So in order for him to close this 200-yard gap or whatever it is, he's going to have to ride 30-ish. Let's say he's riding 30, but the group's also constantly getting further away from you. So it's not a 200-yard effort. It ends up being a 1-lap effort, which is, almost a mile, or, a 1,000-yard effort. You see Tony waving his hand there, telling people to come through, but it's the same, 3 of us, same 4 of us that's taking the pools here. It was basically me, Ace, LaDon, and Tony rotating for a little while. And, I take my pool again here on the front, and yeah, that was just what it was. Unfortunate for me, like I've been saying the whole time, I'm just in horrible shape. So you see my heart rate's up to 185. The effort's not even that hard, to be honest with you, but that's where my fitness is at. So I'm up to 185, so I'm about to pop if I keep going. So luckily they come through, I get a little draft, but I'm pretty close to popped anyway. I just don't have the endurance right now. Yeah, and again, at this speed, even though it's pretty stretched out, we're not actually going that fast. This is a downhill finish. Downhill finish, but it is into a little bit of a stiff headwind. So that'll keep the speeds down a little bit. But normally we'll be closer to 30 miles per hour. Like in the faster races, you'll be closer to 30. And if you see, that's Jack right there. He kind of gave up on the bridge. But again, if you let the breakaway get a little too far in front of you, that's not an easy task to run it down. It looks tempting. Looks like there's a little carrot out in front of you because, like I said, it's only a 100-yard gap or 200-yard gap. But you got to remember that gap is moving. So, yeah, it's hard to make up 200 yards, with your 1 or 2 minute effort. Yeah, because that gap is moving away from you the entire time. So here again, we're not organized. We're just kind of rolling, trying to bring back the break. I don't know the gentleman's name on the front up there, but he put in a lot of work. I think he's actually a Cat 4 because I believe he raced in the Cat 4 race with me later up there in the dark kit. But he put a lot of work in this race, and he was at the sharp end of it, doing his pulls and taking pulls or whatever. But yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good category, and I wish they had it every weekend. I know a couple years ago they pretty much had it every race. Then it went away last year. I don't think they did the 30 plus 3-4 anymore. But it's pretty good. It's a pretty good category. It's just a little safer. Obviously, everybody's a little bit more experienced, a little bit older, being that it's 30 plus. So you don't have a lot of ambitious youngsters in there. Most of us racing at 30 plus, we kind of are where we're going to end up. We're out here racing masters or whatever. We're not trying to fly up the ranks and go pro, stuff like that, like a lot of the youngsters are. So, we tend to be a little safer and take a little bit less chances. So again, now my heart rate's been in the 180s for a while now. And like I said, with my fitness, I'm just done. I'm pretty popped here. So as you see, I'm putting in almost 400 watts, and LaDon's kind of just riding away from me. Jack comes through. It's hard for me to jump on that wheel even. Yeah, I'm just kind of popped right here, and my energy is gone. it's real unfortunate too, because as I start to fade here and lose touch a little bit, well, let me not say a little bit. I fade off the back of the, I just fell off the face of the earth right here. As I start to fade, they basically catch the breakaway in the next lap, and then everything shuts down. So I really just needed to hold on for this one lap to end up having a better race and be in contention at the end for the sprint. And you'll see it. I basically get dropped here, jump on the back of my man's wheel right here, trying to recover. I just could not recover soon enough. As I said, I max out in the kind of mid to high 180s, heart rate wise, and I was up to 188, then 185 for a while, and I just couldn't recover fast enough. So as you can see, my heart rate's dropping now, and I'll have a little bit more. I'm still trying to recover. Like, I don't feel recovered just because, like I said, I'm out of shape, so my legs are burning, all that kind of stuff. But I just couldn't recover fast enough to hang on to the back of that group. But if I would have just hung on to the back of that group for one more lap, it slows down, and they're cruising around at 24, 25 miles per hour basically the rest of the race. So in a second here, I'm not going to record just me riding off the back here, but basically we go a lap here kind of solo, or with the two gentlemen that I thought we could work together and just kind of ride it out, the three of us. But the gentleman I was just following, he kind of fades back now and he's done. And then myself and one of the riders from Major Motion, we end up doing a lap, and I thought we were going to work together for a second just to finish the race. But he kind of falls off after a lap as well, and I was just riding solo. This is him here. So, and unfortunately too, I think he might be Cat 4 as well, and I'm not sure if that's him that crashed in the Cat 4 race. I'll have to check the video. Sorry, I don't remember your name as well. I gotta look up and learn people's names a little better. But yeah, I thought we'd work together a little bit here, and I think maybe he misunderstood me, because I don't know if it's here or on the next lap. I kind of told him that, hey, I'm gonna just save myself for the Cat 4 race since I'm doing it later. And I think I asked him, and he said he's doing it as well. But I think maybe he thought I was gonna pull in, because I think I said that. I think I said I might pull in for the Cat 4 race, but I didn't really have intentions of pulling in. I was really just saying I'm just gonna take it easy and kind of, cruise in. Yeah, I think I'm talking to him right here, telling him, I'm going to race Cat 4 later, so I might just take it easy. And then as we come around for this next, the back straight or whatever, I look around and he's kind of falling off my wheel. And we're not putting in that hard of an effort, you know what I mean? Like, I was just basically going to try to do just about 200 watts and just cruise it in. But he fell off the back of the wheel. So then I just cruised solo for a while, like I said, just doing about 200 watts. And then when the peloton comes back around, I'm going to just jump on it just so I can learn the group a little better, see who's doing what, and just get it on video. So the last like 8 laps or so, I basically just cruise at the back of the peloton. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to interfere. I'm just on the back. I even let the other riders know, like, hey, I've been lapped. Don't, basically letting them know, don't get on my wheel. I'm not trying to pull you anywhere. I'm not interfering. I'm just lapped. So I'm just sitting on the back of it, and really just to finish the race and to record it. There's only a couple cameras in the race. I think LaDon had his, but it's always good for people to be able to see what they did in a race. So if you see here, I'm kind of looking around, and I think both the other riders are gone now. Like, they're just not on my wheel anymore. And like I said, we're just cruising. So I think they are just kind of done as well. Motorcycle goes by. When you see that motorcycle, that's it right there. That's you walking the plank right there. That means you're dead. You have no chance in this race. And even the motorcycle is giving up on you now. So anyway, like I said, I'm basically solo now. So I ride solo for a couple laps, but I'm not going to show you that, waste your time. I'm going to fast forward to the last few laps with the peloton, and just to give people a chance to see what was going on there and see how slow it was like I said, I lasted only 20 something minutes before getting popped. And, you know, after that 20 minutes, it just basically was a group ride and everybody's just cruising. So I think it said 8 laps to go there. And then I'm going to transition here into when I get on the back of the peloton. So the group should be coming up behind me. I was checking my six basically, and I saw them coming. So I just moved over to the right. Like I said, I don't want to interfere. I'm not going to, you know, be in 30th position, you know, trying to interfere with the sprint for somebody that's sprinting for first place or whatever. So that doesn't make any sense. And I think we got about 8 or 6 laps to go or something now. So I'm just kind of cruising, sitting up, keeping a little bit of momentum, waiting for them to come by so I can then just latch on.
Hang in there, Jack. 5 to go.
So yeah, once the group goes by, just pick up a little speed, jump onto the back of it. And like I said, I'm just a passenger. I'm just going to sit here now and, you know, just not interfere, just kind of watch the group and kind of see what they're doing, learn a little bit if I can, see how these guys decide to race. But like he said at the beginning of the race, kind of like Ronnie said at the beginning of the race, half the peloton are sprinters. So, you know, everybody wants to kind of ride at a fairly slow pace until the end so they can have something left in the tank. But this is about it right here. Like, until the end of the race, this is like the speed. So it's pretty chill. You'll see, like, I'll freewheel like half the time or just be using like very low watts. Yes, I'm in the draft, but, you know, when you race, you're always in the draft, or you should be, unless you're, you know, trying to put in some dig or something. You should always be using someone else's energy as much as possible. But yeah, at this pace, like I said, if I would have just hung on that one little lap, I just could not recover. Yeah, I would have easily been able to finish the rest of the race at, you know, at this type of pace, which this is the second half of the race, is just kind of cruising around like this. There's no, like I said, there's no more breakaway or anything. Everyone's back together, and now it's just group ride time. In fact, my heart rate's in the 160s. I don't know when the last time I really spent any significant time at a 160 heart rate while in a race. Again, I let the gentleman here know, because he was kind of sagging back. I let him know, like, hey, I'm lapped already, so don't fall in behind me. Just go on and move up. So yeah, I think we're now going into about 5 laps to go. And in most races, I don't know, usually when it gets down to about 5 to 3 laps to go, the pace usually picks up a lot, gets pretty hot. But again, not today. It's just a cruise. There's like some very small surges, but nothing too big. So I think also, I don't think CBR has the 30 plus 3.4 this year. I think it's only at the Majestic races. So I know we have one more, I think, Majestic crit, and talking to Alfie, he was trying to get another one on the schedule maybe for June. So I think the last one's in May, and then maybe have the season finale in June if we can. So, but yeah, it'd be nice to jump in there and get into some 3-4 races without having to cat up. I'll wait till I get my fitness up a little bit, and then probably cat up once I get enough points and all that kind of stuff, and just have, like, I don't know, a couple months of training in where I can be consistent. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know when's the last time I've done a full lap with my heart rate less than 170 in a crit race. Also, I think this might be the first age group race I've ever done. Can't recall. I don't really remember if I've done any age group before, but yeah, I think this is the first age group race that I've ever done. And there's Hitch in front of me, and like I said, Hitch got a third place in this race, so great job to him. I know he was saying he's not in the greatest fitness either right now, but you know, it's early in the season. It's actually only the beginning of March, so you know, we'll have a long season. Weather's not even warm yet. So yeah, I think we're just going into just about 3 laps to go. Hopefully I can see the sign, the lap signs over on the left. You'll see it when we cross the finish line, hopefully. I like it better when they have the digital sign. Yeah, I don't do too well with these small signs right here. Which, yeah, I couldn't even see that. But yeah, the pace that we're going now, I mean, yeah, this is like Cat 5 race right here. This is Cat 5 pace. But obviously it's much better than Cat 5. Like you can see like just the lines, the steadiness, all that's way better than Cat 5, Cat 4. Cat 4 and 5 is just chaotic. And you can see everybody here is comfortable riding close, which is fine. And the momentum, just, you know, carrying momentum. We're not going fast again, like I said, but it's just everybody's going easy, carrying momentum. Have a little conversation with Hitch right here. And yeah, like I said, most of these guys are sprinters, and you know, this is kind of what people love is, yeah, keep that pace as easy as possible for the sprint at the end, other than the last lap or so. If you have any type of lead out, you kind of want it strung out then, just so you don't get swarmed and have to race against, you know, have to sprint against 20 guys. You'd rather cut those numbers down. But as far as leading up to it, yeah, you want it easy like this. And unfortunately for me, like I said, unfortunately, this is one of the few races you'll have that it's this slow the last, you know, few laps. So again, I'm sitting back here purposely. Like I said, I'm lapped already, so I'm just trying to stay out of everybody's way. I know it's coming down to the last like 2-3 laps now, so you know, I'm just making sure I'm not interfering with anything, getting my little time on the bike in, and just getting you know, being able to get a finish. Yeah, this is definitely the lowest I've ever seen my heart rate in a race. 160 for me is like tempo. It's like, you know, like zone 3. Definitely if I hit 150 something, that's going to be zone 2 heart rate for me. I give a shout to my man there. He was with me earlier. That was one of the guys that I was trying to work with, and I told him, hey, just jump back on. Just, you know, jump on. I'm lapped also, so I think that might have been, well, obviously, yeah, since I was lapped, that has to be the second time being lapped. But like I said, no big deal. When you come out here, it happens to everybody at least once in your life, and it's not the walk of shame. Just go ahead and finish, get your work in, and build your fitness. Things starting to fan out a little bit here. I think we're coming into, like, you know, the last 2 laps now, or maybe even the last lap. I think it's the last 2 coming up. So you do see people are thinking a little bit of moving up now. You can just tell that people are kind of shuffling a little bit. It's not as smooth as it was a second ago, so people are just trying to position themselves so they don't get caught too far back. Damn, yeah, I've never seen my heart in the 150s in a crit race, or even any type of race. Actually, never seen my heart rate that low. This is how chill the pace is. It's also an indication of just how bad a shape I'm in right now. How do you get dropped in the slowest race you've ever been in, basically? one of the slowest races I've been in years, and I got dropped in it. That's kind of funny to even think about. All right, so this might be going into the last lap. Or I'm sorry, this might be the last lap. As you can tell, everybody's going a lot faster now. The pace has picked up. Once again, I'm just trying not to interfere. But I do want to stay a little bit close so I can get the footage. I think I'm a little too far back, and I don't want to interfere, so I don't get to see exactly like who makes a move and where the move goes or where the sprint starts. Obviously, the pace is hot now. I do see my man Hitch up there making a move, like just getting a little bit closer on the right side up there. Some guys get a little pinched off going too tight. And the front is a little too far for me to see. Alrighty, so that's the 30 plus 3-4 race. Like I said, I know Elijah won the race, and Hitch got third. I'm not exactly sure who got second on that race. So anyway, that's that. I had this waiting in the queue to get off, and we'll be racing CBR next. So thanks for watching, and hope I see you guys out there next time. And hopefully I'll start getting into shape and get some better results.